viva, Sanko, viva! Gama lamakhosikazi, Malilongwe! Yo, young lions roar! Roar, young lions roar! Ala, mayanka yanka, halala! Ala, mayanka yanka! Phambi ngiqale ngale lecture yami ngizwe lapha bethi nini ngomsombuluko siyavuma ngomsombuluko. Thank you very much, comrades and friends. Today we meet on sacred ground here in Kliptown, the same platform where multitudes of South Africans from all walks of life congregated together in 1955. They met here to craft a blueprint for a South Africa that will bring justice, dignity, equality, housing, and all those needs to our people. This is sacred ground that consolidated decades old of brave resistance to white minority rule into a more structured and theoretically sound movement. This is hallowed ground where the organizational and social basis of the Congress movement developed into concrete political and socio-economic policies. This is the place where the non-racial and non-sexist values permanently became etched into the soul of the Congress movement. This is the home that gave us a shared vision of the future. This is an important place that helped us to articulate an alternative and radically different social order. This place helped us to clearly and unambiguously define the correct sectoral demands of our people. Accordingly, we had to address the needs and demands of the youth, of students, of women, young and old, of our workers, young and old, the peasants, as well as the urban and rural people, and indeed, black and white South Africans. This place gave us the ideological uniformity and cohesion that we need. It gave concrete details and substance to the clarion call of freedom in our lifetime. By 1994, it was not only freedom in our lifetime, it had extended to and been codified into a better life for all. We're here today at the same sacred spot that defines who we are, what we represent, what we stand for. These are moments that mark our life and compel us to surrender ourselves to the causes that we carry always in our heart. In the life of each one of us, there are crucial moments. They arrive without invitation, often without warning. And nothing more is more important than being alert and prepared to receive them with one's heart and take them on within one's abilities. In my life, this is one of those moments that I've chosen today to come here to honor Madiba, to give this lecture and give myself to him and the cause that he fought for anew. I'm here to receive with open arms and with all awareness and humility, and completely prepared to devote myself, body and soul to the cause that brought us here, to the cause that so many of us fought for, the cause that so many died for. No nation can survive without honoring both the rights that dignify it and the obligations that support it. We are obliged to return to the cause that we started here in Kliptown. We are obliged to return to the values of the Freedom Charter, our guiding principles as resonating today as on the day that they were written, and to put those values at the service of the people in their daily lives, first and foremost, as opposed to ourselves. We have a choice: to return to our roots as a party with all its monumental capital value, or we put at risk the very future of our nation, our people, and the generations to come. If we do not give back to the ANC its moral credit, the socio-political structure of the country is going to be weakened like never before. What we want to do is to be responsible, and what we need to ask ourselves is, will we be the salvation of our people, or will we be the fall of our people? You, the people, will decide. For my part, I've already made that decision, and it is irrevocable. I'm going to work so that the sacred foundations of the new South Africa will never be crushed by personal ambitions, by corruption, by meanness, or by arrangements made behind the backs of people for the nefarious and treacherous purposes of a few. The alarm bells have already sounded. They're too loud for us to ignore. We have heard them. We have all heard them. When our people from all our communities took to the streets to defend the principles of unity and reconciliation that founded this democracy. We heard them screeching from newspaper headlines. We heard them when our people spoke with their vote last year, and they made it clear to us what they felt about us. Those bells sounded as clear as ever, a warning of the fact that we must not be arrogant, because then we forget who we are or who put us here. The ANC was not born to satisfy a handful of selfish people, nor did our founding fathers bequeath us a freedom charter to squander. We are obliged to translate the Freedom Charter and give it concrete value, here, today, and going forward, using them as a central guide so that every South African can feel and touch and live by it every day. Sacred words are even more sacred when they are acted upon. Bringing fulfillment to our people so that we may meet the promise of 1994 to deliver a better life for all our people. We have a right to happiness and well-being, but for that, we also have a responsibility to preserve it and make it true in the daily lives of our people. Today, our obligation is to recover the honor of our party and to build the glory of our country. And may that glory reach all South Africans, the daily life of each one of us, empowering our lives, lifting our hopes, and fulfilling our dreams. We as a people have gone through a great deal of pain and sacrifice, traversed the lands of our forefathers never dreamed of, buried our young. We refused to allow our hearts, broken so many times, to be filled with hatred. We chose lions' hearts, proud, strong, resilient people that we are. We chose to fill our hearts with hope, setting an example for all of the people of the world to follow. We are directed in this by a number of sacred concepts. One is honor, integrity, courage to do the right thing at all times. The second is our heart, our hearts that care so much for our people and our country. Third is hope, that we need to have hope, to give hope to our people. Fourth is to inspire our people that their lives will indeed be better. These are concepts that we should ensure we revere in our hearts forever. They have carried us through the darkest hours. Let them carry us now onwards so that we may emerge victorious. We must seize them now together. With them, we will have to face terrible enemies that today are threatening to defeat us. These are corruption without limits, arrogance, loss of any sense of reality, impunity, greed and selfishness, and a total loss of the value systems as enshrined in the Freedom Charter. I believe the time has come to stand together, shoulder to shoulder, to defeat all that threaten to end our dignity, our hard-won freedom and achievements, the effects of impoverishing our people and stunting the quality of life of our people should be behind us. Those that threaten the future of our children, we must banish. Let the torch of the revolution be reignited in our hearts. Let us allow no one to extinguish it, because this is all we have right now. This is all we have right now. I learned from reading about Charlotte Maxeke. I learned from Lillian Ngoyi. I learned from Ruth First. I learned from Ruth Mombati. I learned from Winnie Madikizela Mandela, great women, steadfast revolutionaries who stood strong in the face of oppression. These mighty role models cradled our families and defended our homesteads, armed only with their conviction, their integrity, their infallible commitment to justice, and their dreams for liberation. I learned it from young people, heroic revolutionaries like Solomon Mahlangu, like Hastings Ndlovu, like Hector Peterson. For our revolution, they gave their youth, their strength, and their lives. A sacrifice that we must honor at all times. You and I have an obligation to honor that sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice. We will not let their fire cease to burn in our hearts. Today, I can say with confidence, I'm ready to fight so that we can reclaim these values that once were ours. I would like to urge you to stand with me to regain the honor of being a revolutionary. I would like you to stand with me so that we can earn something more valuable than money. That is integrity, honor, courage, heart, and respect. I'd like you to stand with me because we have to save the ANC. Saving the ANC is to save South Africa. Saving South Africa is to save all of us. Our life and destiny is in the hands of the ANC. Our families, our children, our children's children look up to us to save them. I'd like you to stand with me so that we may offer hope and not condemnation. The heritage of South Africa we chose to live in and believe in demands that our diversity be acknowledged as our strength. This attribute we will not allow to be turned against us by divisiveness, by factions. We will welcome those who wish to come back into the fold of the struggle. They're always welcome with us, because if we remove them or refuse them, we will continuously be torn apart by people who might not agree on minute matters. And we will have to overcome, because the strength of those champions whose bodies were taken from us depend on us. The hearts of our mothers, as I've indicated, Charlotte Matlega, Lillian Ngoyi, Ruth First. The hearts of our fathers, Lutuli, Madiba, Oliver Tambo, they still live in us. They live in us and they beckon us to say, and I say this on your behalf, this is the South Africa that I envision, the same South Africa that they dreamed of. A country of freedom, equality, fairness, prosperity for all, as expressed in the Freedom Charter that we adopted here many years ago. A country that has food for the hungry, land for the landless and dispossessed, home for the homeless, health for the sick, care for the elderly, care for those who sacrifice their lives for us to be here, work for millions of unemployed, incentives for entrepreneurs so that we will together grow the economy, equal access to the resources of the country as we build our nation, a progressive realization of free education for all, decent services and a clean government, and public servants who know that they serve the interests of the people first. Equality for women, inclusion for the poor and black majority, for the wealth of this country belongs to all. Inclusion of the vulnerable, women, children, and those who live with disabilities. Justice and equality for all and protection against violence and abuse. Inclusion for minorities and an assurance that they too belong. Respect for each and every South African equally. This is the South Africa I want. Is this the South Africa you want? Is this the South Africa you want? Is this the South Africa you want, as encapsulated in the Freedom Charter? As encapsulated in the Freedom Charter? I don't understand, you understand me. Is the South Africa encapsulated in the Freedom Charter the South Africa you want? Yes. Right. What you're saying no to is the South Africa that we have that you do not want. Yes. I therefore call on you, let us work together to ensure that we can return the South Africa that we have in the Freedom Charter. We agree. This we must do, and this we must do together. We must do this not only because we love ourselves and our people. We must do this to honor our forefathers and carry on with their dreams of ridding South Africa of poverty, corruption, violence, unemployment, inequality, racism, and capture of whatever nature there may be that is detrimental to our country and our economy. What we must do to finally liberate our people and this country. What we must do is to cleanse the ANC and recover its original values. I want to repeat that. What we must do is to cleanse the ANC and recover its original values. These are challenges worth facing, and this is only but one of them. These are challenges worth facing because our nation is going through one of the most difficult moments of its life. And people are wondering why we in the ANC are dithering. It is worth it because it is a cause that provides a sense of purpose and meaning to all of us. It is worth it because our history demands it of us. Our history beckons to us and says, go back to the Freedom Charter, go back to Kliptown, and move from there. Ignite the hope of our people. We must place our people and their well-being at the center of such transcendental heritage. This is a must. We must do it. It is not a decision taken for personal interest, but for the ANC and the whole nation's sake. It is a must. For me, it is a deep personal commitment to put the common South African man or woman and their well-being at the center of Luthuli and Mandela and Tambo's legacy. It's simply, for me, a must. South Africa urgently needs an economic resurgence, a moral revolution, a return to its values. It also urgently needs a radical social transformation. And so does the ANC. Our party can not only be an electoral machine when we come to elections. It has to become a machine, yes, but a machine of prosperity, justice, and happiness so that all South Africans can live better lives. We don't want anybody to use our party. Whoever does so harms all of us. We can no longer allow our party to be harmed. All of us who are part of this meeting, all of those who were part of the Kliptown meeting, have to defend the future of our people, the future of our children, and that can only happen through the ANC. We need to ensure that our party is greater than any faction, greater than anything that money can buy. There's no need to rebuild it or restart history all over again. What we ought to do is take up what we have, go back to our history, and let it carry us forward. The history that made us who we are, the history that can make us who we can be. South Africa and the ANC need a revised movement, open to modern means and methods, a movement to save the Republic, reunite all of us, save South Africans, and save our people, give hope and dignity to all, and create a future of certainty. A movement where no one is left out, no one is alienated, and no one feels like an outsider. South Africa and the ANC need all of these things. South Africa needs you to ensure that this is upheld. It is not too much to ask, because the South Africans waiting out there deserve it. It is a must. I, Lindiwe Sisulu, have committed myself to these principles. I have committed myself to ensure that all of these things that I have counted as a must are a must, first of all, to me. We must further ensure that we cry out loud and say, we must stop the killings in KwaZulu-Natal. It is alien to the culture of the ANC. It is not the culture of our movement. We must stop violence against women and children. It is alien to our culture, It must stop. We must stop corruption. It is alien to our movement and it is harming us. We must unshackle ourselves from the stronghold of undemocratic processes. The ANC is not for sale. So for heaven's sake, don't let anybody buy your vote. And don't you buy anybody's vote. In conclusion, I want to give you a quotation from Madiba. And he says, "You have to carefully choose the opportunity and make sure that history would be on your side." For all of us here, for me, this is that moment. That if we do not grasp, history will not be on our side. I thank you all. Amandla! Amandla!